Adam moved around the house. It was new to them, him and Clara, but he needed a place. Clara was starting to show. She was pregnant, and an adventurer's life was a poor match to a family. Thankfully, he found this job, and it came with a home. Through the window, they were being watched. Their stalker eyed the couple hungrily. It licked its lips as it awaited its victims to fall asleep. Welcome to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide, Jason. Today, we meet a vampire known as the Manananggal. Every nation and region has its own take on the vampire. That even includes the Philippines and the Manananggal. In Tagalog, it is derived from Tanggal, which means to separate. And that is part of its uniqueness. The Manananggal can split itself apart from the waist up. The legs will just stand around. No, they don't collapse, but remain standing where it was left. As for the torso, it sprouts bat wings and flies through the air. It also has a rather strange tongue. It stretches out into a proboscis, like a mosquito's, and uses it to suck the blood. They are mostly female, very few males mentioned, though they are noted to have an incredibly horrible stench to them. Through their shapeshifting, they can appear as a normal woman to get closer to their victims. Most stories speak how it is immune to most weapons, but some say it doesn't care for daggers. Got to love how inconsistent mythology can be. Now, it doesn't just attack anyone willy-nilly. No, it has preferences. First up, pregnant women, in particular their baby's blood, and will suck up the full baby if they get the chance. After that, it prefers newlyweds, and then men which have been left at the altar. They will perch on the roof with just their torso, usually, and wait for their victims to fall asleep. Then they can sneak into the house and use their long tongue to feed. In a few cases, only the tongue enters the house. It also has the usual assortment of powers that most vampires have: strength, speed, shapeshifting, and so forth. It also avoids the usual garlic, holy water, and sunlight, but also salt, vinegar, and certain spices. Yet there is a unique one: the spine from the tail of a stingray. It is usually fashioned into a whip to harm it. Due to its splitting apart, it has a couple of extra weaknesses. If you can find the legs, you can coat the junction in salt, ash, vinegar, holy water, and so forth. Now, we do see the same splitting apart elsewhere. In Japanese mythology, there is the Nuke-Kube, whose head flies off and sucks blood. So, why do the legs just stand still while the torso flies away? First up, we are separating the nervous system. If there is no signal from the brain, nothing is telling it to move. That is pretty basic. But normally, when the spine is severed, it would cause the legs to collapse. Yet, there is a simple solution. When the torso separates, it would need to trigger the muscles of the leg to lock in place, else it would fall over. It may also benefit the legs to enter a stasis, which will awaken when the torso returns. There doesn't seem to be a psychic connection between the torso and the legs. It can't feel through the legs while the torso flies about. So if the legs are destroyed, it won't know until it returns. But it does need to return. It is said to perish if they can't connect the two halves, probably because it needs the legs to rest its arms and wings. That could indicate a low endurance level. Or it has the digestive tract separated, and it will starve. I like this one more. But the real issue is reattachment. Separating is easy. We see it with lizards losing their tails. Yet, reconnecting isn't. Thankfully, this is an undead, which removes many of the problems. Still, we need to get the tissues to reconnect. The stimuli from the torso should be able to initiate the reconnection. The wings are the usual issues. We need attachment points for the muscles, but that would result in smaller muscles overall. But vampires are known for their strength, so we can skip that issue. But how big are the wings? We are dealing with only half of a human in size. Since it is almost always female, we can estimate a weight of only 60 pounds, at most 27 kilograms. The heaviest flying bird is the great bustard, which is 44 pounds, 20 kilograms, and a wingspan of 8 feet, 2.4 meters. So our vampire's wings should be slightly bigger at least. Normally, I would go on to the respiratory system, but we don't need to, for two reasons. One, it is an undead, which don't breathe, but potentially, due to its splitting apart, it might have an additional opening into the lungs, which would promote airflow. But we do need to figure out the tongue. Earlier, I referred to it as a proboscis, which means adding a sharp edge, a pierce, and then a long hollow section. Conceptually, this is more similar to an elephant's trunk, with a small fang on the tip. The real issue is its length, and that is hard to say. It needs to be nimble enough to get into places. But it is a shapeshifter. They even use this trick for the classic tactic of seducing young single men to feed on. Except for the splitting apart. This is a pretty basic vampire, yet its origin is believed to date back to the earliest times of Filipino mythology, with multiple different names and subtle variations with each island. There is one thing I do wonder, and that is what is up with the smell. Now, I am betting most of you haven't spent a whole heap of time around massive wounds in hospitals. But I have, and I can tell you, they tend to smell. An earthy and rotten smell. Most unpleasant. So, it is possible that the internal organs of the lower half is producing the smell. I mean, we have the intestines, liver, and stomach right there. And those are amongst the smelliest parts of the body. If you have ever tried to gut a deer, and to leave it exposed out all night, that sounds like a good place to set up infection, particularly with insects flying about. They would probably need some sort of antiseptic within their body to protect the separated legs. Where they separate isn't clearly stated. You would think the easiest would just be at the diaphragm, with the lungs and heart in the torso. But it feeds while split apart. So, does it take the stomach along for the flight? Or is the intestines and stomach switched with the heart and lungs? I would need to examine one to know for sure. Like most vampires, they are nocturnal, so sleep in all day and get ready for some night work. A spell of dark vision will help out immensely. There are 3 ways to approach this fight. Go for the torso, go for the legs, and when combined. The legs is by far the easiest and safest option. Now, in both its true form and while disguised as a human, it smells. So have a dog and you can track it. Or just take a big whiff of it yourself. If you can find just the legs, it is easy. Get some salt, vinegar, holy water, spices and ashes, and then slather it onto the severed section. Oh, there might be some fluid and insects nearby. I mean, exposed meat and open wounds are huge draws for flies to lay eggs in. So cover it all in our holy concoction. Work it into every crevice, and pour of the severed waste, and then you can wait. Get into some cover and watch. There is a chance that our vampire can take its legs and attempt to wash out our stealthy attack on it by dragging the legs into a pond or well. It would be difficult, but probably its only option. Keep it trapped until the sun arises, and you win. Fighting the torso is a bit harder. It has sharp claws and a long tongue that can stab and drain you, or just strangle you. Its large wings are the biggest targets. Damage that, and it may fall to the ground. They have thin membranes, which can easily be damaged. While the effectiveness of weapons is questionable, the stinger from a stingray turned into a whip is very effective. It makes for a powerful talisman against them. Use holy water and symbols. That can push it back. Magic will be your best option. Fire and lightning will go very nicely with the light spells. Keep on the offensive. It is on a time limit. It needs to get its legs and escape before sunrise. Can you hold out? Lastly, is if it has its legs. It doesn't need to hang around and will likely flee, assuming that it cannot overpower you, which is very likely. Generally, this would be the same as if fighting just the torso, but added chance of it escaping. A bit more difficult. Hitting it will be difficult since it can shrink and grow to evade at will. While shapeshifted as a human, it'll be harder to detect, but not impossible. Use holy water and garlic to expose it. This is a dangerous foe to be certain. You should take every precaution when facing it. And I'm going to give a 5 out of 10 for difficulty. It definitely has the potential to be a threat. When you slay Manananggal, you won't get much. The corpse won't be too useful, but best to burn it and take the usual precautions. Vampire dust is usable in potions if you want to brew a few, but what would happen if you steal its legs? Could you force it to work with you? Do you want to be betrayed? Because that is what is going to happen. Yeah, a team up is a stupid idea. Slay it and be done. The Manananggal crept into the house when the couple fell asleep. So sweet they would be. A nip at the child and maybe the men. Or make a pass later. It hadn't decided. In the narrow corridors, its wings couldn't extend, and it walked on its hands. It saw the bed and hastened forward. But Adam's mind was restless. As soon as the shadow blocked out the window, he sprang into action. Focused flames erupted from his hand as he yelled. Between the heat and sound, Claire was startled awake, but her mind was quick on the uptake. As she started to chant, her magic pierced the vampire and ended its existence in an instant. They held each other as the ashes settled. There was little more sleep to come that night. The Manananggal was a threat to be sure. Keep an eye out for half of a vampire at night. Thank you for watching, adventurers. Please return next time for the Magical School. Until then, I'll see you on the roads.